IB has earned his head coaching title to be permanent, not interim. I've watched him grow, and I've seen him enough to know he gets it. Wichita State would be lucky to have him as a head coach. Just kind of what spurred that for you, and why do you think he should have that interim tag taken off?
I really think that Isaac Brown has earned the head coaching position at Wichita State. And the reason why, look, this isn't a gift. This isn't just because the guy became interim in a tough situation. This is because this team has become a true team under Isaac Brown. With all the situations that I witness across college basketball today, with all the distractions, along with everything else that usually goes along in the season, and then there's COVID, right? And Isaac Brown has turned this team into truly a culture of we. I've seen it. I interviewed Dexter Dennis and Tyson Etienne just on Friday. And those guys, they embraced their head coach. Look, they wanted to play for Greg Marshall. They assumed Greg Marshall would be their coach back in the summertime. And then everything changed in their words. And Isaac Brown comes in as a steadying hand. He's created that culture of we. This is a selfless basketball team. I've watched Isaac grow on the bench where he understands what buttons to push. Now, listen, that isn't something that you just do. It's something that you learn. And Isaac Brown has learned well as an assistant coach, and now he's pushing all the right buttons for the Wichita State Shockers, and they're in the race with Houston and Memphis and SMU right now for the American Championship. What else can the guy do to prove that he's ready to be a head coach? Because he is a head coach right now. That's my point. Isaac has gone from being a great assistant to being a really good head coach. Last point. The staff that he's put together. And, I talked to him about half times and how they manage half times. He talked about Coach Lou Gaudino, who's a tremendous X's and O's guy, really good prep guy.
Oh, yeah.
He takes notes of all the 5 coaches. They gather the information, and then Isaac decides what are going to be the 2 or 3 points that he brings up in the locker room to make the adjustments. I asked him for an example as to how that works. He talked about the recent USF game where the team was frustrated because they're not making shots. I got news for you. Against USF, there's a lot of teams that get frustrated by not making shots. This is the dirtiest, dingiest, blue-collar, lunch pail league in the country. It's the best defensive league in the country. He refocused his team to stop focusing on made or missed shots and get back to their defensive process and let defense be their offense. Well, they came back. They won that game. I mean, that's an example of Isaac Brown embracing the role of a head coach, listening to his assistant coaches, hiring a Billy Kennedy, who's been a mentor and a sounding board for him behind closed doors. That's what a great head coach does. And that's the job Isaac Brown is doing today at Wichita State, and they'd be lucky to keep him.
There's some fans out there that are in the camp of that he's not a big splashy name per se. But that he's proving that it doesn't really matter, correct? That like you said, that he's proving it right now. Like what else can you do? And he's proven even as an assistant that he can recruit as well. So that shouldn't matter in this case.
Chris, oftentimes I see athletic directors who want to win the press conference. I understand it's all part of marketing as well, and you hire the big name, and so you're a hero because you bring this guy to town. I understand it, but it's an ego-driven decision. And ego stands for edged God out. Ego is no way to hire your next head coach. And Isaac Brown is becoming a big name. Greg Marshall was a no name once upon a time. I knew Greg Marshall when he was nobody. And I was nobody. The difference is I still am nobody. Greg Marshall became a somebody. And Isaac Brown has earned the position because of how he's grown. Look, I got no dog in this fight. I think Darren Boatwright's a really good athletic director. I've known Darren a long time, and I respect him. And Darren can make his own decision. But you know what? I'm in the business of giving you my thoughtful opinion based upon the facts. And you know me. I don't just pop off on something because I think it's going to be a hot take. I believe that Isaac Brown is the best fit for continuing to build this culture of we. He's been such a steadying influence in this program, and they're winning. They're successful, and there's a foundation there for long-term success. That's the biggest key as an athletic director, I believe. You've got to look at Who's going to help you win? That's short term. Who's going to help you be successful and sustainable for a long time? I believe Isaac Brown has shown that he's got all the wherewithal to continue to build a successful, sustainable program, which Wichita State has been now for decades.
You've mentioned the culture of we a few times, and everyone that I've talked to about Isaac Brown is that he is a player's coach. And that term gets thrown around so much that maybe it loses some value. But with him, it seems like it's the real deal. And you being a college basketball analyst and a former head coach and everything, how important is that attitude of kind of empowering players?
It's critical, especially today, and especially in this COVID environment. I mean, when I look at the best jobs in coaching today, it's not coming from the Hall of Famers, right? It's not. It's coming from younger, progressive thinking coaches that are adapting to the situation. When you look across the country as to who's being successful, now that doesn't mean that like a Mark Few, who's probably approaching 60, a Kelvin Sampson, who's my age, but Kelvin Sampson's greatest strength is his ability to adapt. I worked with Kelvin. I coached on his staff at Washington State. I coached against Kelvin when we were 25 and 26-year-old head coaches back in the old Frontier Conference in Montana when he was at Montana Tech and I was at Rocky Mountain College. Kelvin's greatest strength is his ability to adapt. And that's why Isaac Brown has stepped in, not knowing all the answers. That's a plus in this situation because nobody had all the answers. But yet, a lot of the coaches who are A to B to C to D, process driven, this is how it's going to be, are the ones who are failing in this COVID environment right now. There might be a correlation to that. And that's why I think of your question about Isaac, if you can coach through this situation and keep your team focused, coming in as an interim head coach and through this whole COVID situation, it's the hardest time to coach in college basketball. And Isaac Brown has been masterful at it.
Before I let you go, you've been generous with your time. Just one thing you're looking forward to or about the matchup on Thursday, we get treated to, the two top teams in the AAC, and you're going to be on the call from what I read on Thursday as well. So yeah, just kind of what are you excited about with that game?
Chris, I'm getting goosebumps right now. Honest to God, I wish you could see the hair standing up on my arm right now. I'm so excited about it. And you know why? I think the affection I have for the city of Wichita and how I've been treated over the years, where you could argue that I've done 90% of the biggest games in Wichita State history during the regular season, during my run in the Valley, and now the run in the American. And I wish I could be there, but you know what? This is my little basketball cabin right here in Springville, Ohio. And I will transport myself to the Roundhouse in Koch Arena. And in my mind, there will be 10,000 crazy, rabid fans going nuts for that game. I'm so honored to be a part of it. And the Houston program and my relationship with Kelvin Sampson and the job that he's done without Caleb Mills, by the way, who transferred midseason, without Fabian White, by the way, who would be a dominant big guy for Houston. And he got hurt in the preseason. You're talking about two coaches who have adapted better than any two coaches in America. And now they're going to be butting heads for the lead in the American in February. I mean, how great is that? And I get to be, a guy, I'm not sitting at half court, but believe me, in my mind, I will be there. I will be zoned in, and I'll just be celebrating what a great opportunity is for these two teams and the nastiest defense in America. And that's my DNA as well. I'm not some big name guy. I'm just a guy that loves college basketball, and I love defense. And these are two teams. They're two of the premier defensive teams in the country. And look, it's not going to be a tea and crumpet game. It's not going to be a wine and cheese game. It is going to be a beer, pretzels with mustard, and pizza. That's the kind of game it's going to be. Maybe with a little bit of Philly cheesesteak and Cincinnati chili and some Memphis barbecue as well, all mixed in, because that's what this conference is all about. It is a nasty defensive league. It's like driving into the biggest pothole in Wichita. You can't stay aligned offensively when you hit that pothole. And there's going to be some major potholes for both Wichita State and for Houston coming up on Thursday night. And I get to call the game. How great is that?